Hi, and welcome to ICMS. My name is Andrew McGregor, and I'm a past student here at ICMS. I studied a Bachelor of Business Management degree and was part of a graduating class of 2017. This session today is all about getting into business. I'm really pleased to be here back on the Manly campus to share a bit about my experience and hopefully to inspire you to choose a career you'll love. Just a bit of background on myself before I get into the presentation. As part of my degree here, I was an ANZ Bank Professional Scholarship recipient, and as part of this scholarship, this included work within ANZ during my degree. I believe scholarships actually are still currently open, so if you're a student thinking about studying at ICMS, I'd really encourage you to check those scholarships out after the presentation. I was also a Dean's List recipient, Uni Games participant, and I was also a member of the Student Representative Council, where I was a treasurer of the student bar here on campus. I also spent close to 6 months during my degree studying and living abroad in Cologne, Germany as part of a study abroad semester. This was part of a scholarship provided by the European Union in 2017. During this time, I met friends from all around Europe and did a lot of traveling when I wasn't studying. It is safe to say, looking back at my whole experience at ICMS, I had a really great time and I'm really pleased to be here today to share a little bit about it. Since graduating, I spent a little bit of time overseas where I went over to London and continued some studies I was completing at the London School of Economics and Political Science. My study there mostly consisted of accounting and finance, but I also completed some subjects in economic history and also some subjects in global strategy. When I wasn't studying, I spent the rest of the time kind of spontaneously travelling around Europe with friends I'd met during my time here at ICMS and also friends I met whilst I was studying abroad. But unfortunately, all good things come to an end, so I had to come home and get a job. As you might have seen, I'm currently working for the ANZ Bank. I actually interned for ANZ back in 2015 as part of my industry training and scholarship. As part of this industry training, I spent 3 months in ANZ's corporate banking division. This really helped lay the foundations for me to come back on a permanent basis and join the ANZ Institutional Graduate Program. This 18-month program allowed me to transfer around and rotate through different teams every 3 to 6 months. So during this graduate program, I went through corporate advisory teams, leverage and acquisition finance, institutional property lending, and also debt capital markets. So it was a really good opportunity to go around, see big construction sites, meet with clients, and really understand what a big bank like ANZ has to offer. After this, I moved into my current role as an analyst in the corporate advisory team at ANZ. In this role, we advise large institutions and corporate clients on mergers and acquisitions, as well as capital raising and general strategic advice. But I figure the reason most of you are listening today is you're trying to figure out where and what you want to study. After studying at 3 separate universities in 3 separate countries, I can say pretty safely that regardless of where or what you choose to study, you're generally going to have a pretty good time. It's an exciting period in your life and it's something really to look forward to. But what I can share with you is why I personally chose to study at ICMS. Back in 2014, I was in a very similar situation to what most of you will find yourself in right now. I was finishing my HSC and I was trying to figure out where exactly I wanted to study. One thing I found when deciding where I wanted to study was that it was really important to figure out your end goal for wanting to study in the first place. Hopefully, as it was for me, it was to find a meaningful job in your chosen field that you can actually use your future degree in after you graduate. Unfortunately, you're not alone in this goal. And something I realised firsthand was I wasn't alone in wanting to find a really good job in a field after graduating, especially when applying for graduate roles near graduation. The Australian Association of Graduate Employers is an organisation that collects data on graduate jobs in Australia every year. In 2019, their research found that on average there were 33 applications for every one graduate role available in Australia across the research sectors. Obviously, in some industries, this was a lot bigger, and in some industries, it was a bit smaller too. But that is actually equal to an average application success rate of about 3%, which is pretty crazy. Just for a bit of perspective, the last available acceptance rate for Harvard Business School was actually approximately 10%. So that's a big difference. The issue I encountered was that most graduates were similar to me. They were motivated, they wanted to get a good job, and they all had very similar degrees. And unfortunately, this is a challenge that a lot of graduates will continue to face, including you in the future if you choose to study. So the question is, how are you going to stand out from the pack after graduating? What I've learned after submitting my fair share of failed applications is partnering real on-the-job experience with genuine relationships is what few graduates actually do successfully. Knowing and executing on this idea allows you to actually enjoy your degree experience because you know you're on a path to success after you finish uni and move into the workforce. So that might beg the question, how am I supposed to get experience whilst I study? Well, at most universities, this is left entirely up to you. The expectation is on you to go out and find these really competitive internships and try to land a place on these. Some of these internships can have upwards of 5,000 applications at any one time. The thing is though, these internship programs and the experience you get from them are really important in building a resume leading up until the time you graduate. Fortunately, ICMS offers 9 months of industry training as part of their business degrees. And this industry training is a huge advantage and takes away a lot of the stress before graduating. Additionally, I found it really healthy to be curious. If there's a job, industry or sector that you're really interested in, go out and learn as much about it as possible. Go out and read articles, speak to people, ask questions and find out if it's actually something you want to do before you try to go out and get experience in that sector. And also, make sure you take advantage of industry events. ICMS and other universities often host industry events on campus, whether it being lectures or booths that you can go up to speak to people from different companies in different roles and different sectors. So you can go up and kind of learn about what someone does and see what it takes to actually get an internship in that sector. Secondly, and what I think might be the most important thing, is develop real industry connections. Now, you don't necessarily have to have parents with heaps of contacts to do this. My most valuable connection early on was actually my manager at ANZ during my industry training, who really helped me out early on. There are actually plenty of successful professional people out there that want to help young people and people that are studying start out in their career. It's all about you just finding them and connecting with them. Find someone who is doing the job that you think you might be interested in and reach out, whether that's over LinkedIn or through a friend or just calling and trying to set up a coffee or a lunch. The worst thing they can do is say no or just not reply. And best case scenario, you're going to get some really good connections out of it and you're going to learn a lot about what you want to do. Try to develop relationships though, and not just superficial networking opportunities where you can say you've met with someone important, because those things don't really help you in the long term. Go out there with the intention of learning about people's jobs, their careers, what they've actually done, and how they got there. This is really going to help you, and it's going to help develop those connections because you're actually going to have something to offer in regards to having a mentorship opportunity. After this, make sure that you actually reach out every couple of months and keep in contact. Let them know how you're going, speak to them about some things about the industry that you've learned, and ask how they've been too. This does two things. One, it keeps you front of mind, and two, it shows them that you really value their input, and that's really important when trying to establish connections. Following these concepts, I found really helped me out in differentiating myself when applying for roles. In fact, better yet, you can actually try and secure a role in your chosen field before you graduate. As all students at ICMS are required to complete industry training, I actually had a lot of friends here at ICMS that secured roles before they even graduated. During these industry training events, you have the opportunity to perform really well and make really good impressions. A lot of those opportunities can transform into scenarios where you can secure a role that just isn't advertised to the masses. And if you can secure a role before you graduate, that really takes the stress off you and allows you just to enjoy your final year of studying and enjoy the experience. I know for a fact that had I not completed my industry training at ANZ during my degree, I really would have had a hard time landing on that program after finishing. So completing that industry training really helped me land a spot on the ANZ Institutional Graduate Program. Considering in 2019 when I joined the program, there was about 4,200 applicants. It's safe to say that that industry training really helped separate me, and those connections really helped me land that spot. My final tips are simply to capitalise on the opportunities you have. There might be a scholarship that you don't think that you've got a good chance in getting. I'll just encourage you to put your hat in the ring and apply for it. I'd also encourage you to just jump on any opportunities professionally you have. If there's something you're not too sure about, within reason, give it a go. Also, make sure you go out there and meet as many people as you can while studying. I still keep in contact with plenty of my friends I met at ICMS. I also keep in contact with a lot of my friends overseas I met while studying abroad. It's a pretty good feeling to know wherever I really go travelling in the world, I'm going to have a couch or a place to stay at. And most importantly, enjoy your time studying, because it's a really enjoyable time in your life and it's something to look forward to. So make sure you do that. So if you're thinking of a career in business, banking or corporate finance, I hope this session has answered a lot of your questions and given you some direction. Hopefully it has given you some useful tips, but most importantly, I hope it's inspired you to choose a career you'll love. If you have any questions or you'd like to ask about any of the finer points of the course, please head over to our live chat on the Open Day portal, or if you'd like to reach out to me personally, you can do so on LinkedIn at the link shown. Thank you and see you later.